Welcome to Patchwork Pod. My name is Elizabeth Palmer, and my guest today is Micah Bellieu. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Micah Bellieu.
Good.
I can't say my own name wrong. You got a little pressure there for a second.
I picked the name Patchwork, and then the number of times I've tried to say it and then just completely stumbled over it, it's ridiculous. So I guess that's a hot tip for if you ever try to name something, try saying it 10 times fast before you settle down on something.
I feel that.
Or if you're naming a kid or whatever.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I am a single mom, and not a single mom by divorce or anything, but bought some sperm at California Sperm Bank and decided to have a baby. I am a business owner. I got really lucky in that I was in the right place at the right time with the right idea 15 years ago. So I was, after teaching little kids English in Mexico, I came back to the States and I started doing one-on-one teaching and got some corporate clients and realized that you could actually make a living if you have corporate clients because they'll pay more.
Yeah.
And they have really intense goals. So they really have the motivation. So very long story short, so we work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies, putting together language programs for them. So lately it's been a lot of blue collar programs. So think of the warehouses for Crate and Barrel, Blue Bunny ice cream. So lots of English programs and Spanish programs there to connect the English only speakers with the Spanish only speakers to make sure that they're able to communicate. And then a large part of the business is pretty high-level employees. So one of our biggest clients is a company out of Spain that has built a very large portion of the highways in Dallas. And they are redoing the JFK-1 terminal in New York. So they do those kinds of projects.
Wow.
And all of their civil engineers take English classes.
Nice.
So it's probably about 70 employees. Yeah, and they do all private one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really important for them to go from good to great.
Yeah.
And then for TruFluency Kids, it is a Spanish immersion program for kids online.
Easy.
Yeah.
All with teachers just based in Mexico and
Everyone is good.
and everyone's a native speaker.
Always. For any of the projects we do, people get, I think, annoyed with that fact, but it's what I believe in.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Before we dive into it, I wanted to just check, are there any specific things that you want to make sure we talk about or any things that you want to make sure we don't talk about?
I have not thought of anything.
That's great.
So, okay, coming in the line.
Well, and I know that you've got some things just with your personal life as far as IVF and all of that I know can feel very
Open book.
great. Well, then let's still go.
I'm so open. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Yeah, some people are very sensitive about the IVF thing. I know. And I've just never felt that for whatever reason.
I think that's
I don't know why.
I think that I think there's a whole cultural sensitivity just around babies and birth and sex and all of those things where on one hand it's idolized and then on the other hand it's taboo. So it's we can't, there's not, it's hard to find a middle ground, but if you grow up without those things directly imposed on you, then
it never occurred to me to not talk about it.
Yeah.
It's what'd you have for breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having IVF. No. It didn't occur to me.
eggs.
Yeah. I prefer breakfast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it doesn't occur to me. I don't know if it's because it's not I'm a non-sensitive person, but I think I'm just so curious about people and sharing stories. I think that's where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we not?
Yeah.
Talk about the meat of life.
Yes. And it's so, like, biology is so interesting. How our bodies work is so interesting. Why our bodies work in some cases versus others is fascinating.
Yep.
And I'm always thinking about, like, how can I maximize my body's potential without making my life significantly harder.
Totally.
Like, I want to like enjoy movement and mobility, but I also am not willing to spend hours every day like stretching.
No, I'm thinking of that too.
So, but
And I know my limitations. Like if I do not pay for a class where I have to go and sit there for an hour, it will never happen. It's just the reality.
mm-hmm.
I've tried so many times to do stuff at home. I'm 43. I don't think that's going to change. Like, you just got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. And I do the full hour and I never miss a class I've paid for. I know my motivation.
That's funny. I definitely, I don't think I've ever skipped a class I paid for, but I also get tired of leaving my house. So
I do too. I just booked out classes for the next 4 weeks.
Oh,
and what is the word? I just prioritized it on my schedule because I could feel my body not moving. You know,
yeah.
I just sit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
So
I was laying in my bed last night and I was like, no matter which way I lay, my hip felt so
exactly
tight and my foot felt like it was tingling a little and falling asleep. And I was like,
100%.
No.
That's exactly what I was feeling.
What's happening?
Yeah. My hips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went on, and I don't have to do anything crazy because I do have body problems now that do limit some things and I have to be careful. And it was a gentle yoga class. And I feel great today and a little sore. It feels great.
Satisfying.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have to go crazy, Mike. It's not black and white. We're just going to sign up for 1 a week. That's it. It's doable.
But it sounds like you have a few like really solid priorities and you just build everything else around that.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about what those are?
So I feel like for my career and personal life, because I have a 3.5-year-old now, a lot of the priorities have to do with her life and what do I want for her. I'm not saying that I've finished everything that I want to accomplish, but she was kind of the last check mark of what I wanted to accomplish in life. Like the businesses do really, really well. If I never made more money a year for the rest of my life, I would be totally fine. So there's not, yes, I keep growing them, of course, but it's not what I'm thinking about all the time. So I would say languages and fluency for my daughter is the main priority. And obviously just emotional health for her and putting, giving her a good life is really where I'm at. You know, I think when you have a kid at 40, you've done a lot, you know? Yeah.
You had a chance to like figure some things out first and then
figure
some other things.
Yeah, my career got really set up, you know, I got to do all my passions. I got to do all the things I wanted to do. And I'm not saying that there's nothing else, because if I could, I would just be in language classes all day long, every day. Like that would be my job, just learning languages.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll do that, you know, at 60 when she's gone and whatever, I'll probably sign up for some immersion class in Japan for like a year. Like that's literally what I would probably do.
Yeah.
After this,
just like polyglot your way.
Yeah. I just love it.
Yeah.
It's just a fun activity.
It is. It's a great hobby because it feels like, I mean, you're learning things, you're stretching your brain and also finding a new way to connect with other people in other cultures.
Yeah. So it's travel, learning. I think there's like a million studies right on how language learning keeps your brain young.
Yes.
So like I wouldn't be doing it for that, but just for the fun of it. But yeah, that's what I enjoy. Yeah. I just want to travel and learn languages.
You're going to be like 75 with the brain of a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Because after Japanese, I would do Russian.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I'm done. That's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That's it.
Wow.
Since I was like 18, those were my 5 languages.
Interesting.
And it's never changed.
And you just got your checklist?
I got my checklist.
Going down it.
Yeah. We're in a very big lull with the Japanese.
Well,
with the yeah, I've just gone back so far that it's hard to get started again. Because when you take a 3-year gap, you really feel like you're starting all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Before we continue, it looks like Tyler's lost her toy under the couch. And she's going to keep making those noises if I don't get it for her.
I didn't even notice. Okay.
Yeah.
You're keenly aware.
I can just hear her. So sad. I'm trying to remember how old I was when I started becoming fascinated with the idea of people being able to speak multiple languages. Like my dad is trilingual.
Yeah.
And
was it all from birth? I can't remember if you learned.
No, he grew up speaking English. Then Afrikaans is a really big language in Namibia, just in general for communication. So I think he kind of picked that up as he was more younger. Right. Yeah, exactly. And then I think in high school, he'd studied German in school, but then he got a German girlfriend.
That would do it. So I learned Spanish.
And then he stayed with her family for a weekend. And after that, it just kind of locked in for him. But he always spoke English to my brothers and I growing up. And so we studied German in high school. And I guess through our school years, that was our language study. But it's one of those things I look back on and I'm like, Dad, why didn't you? I think he feels that sometimes too. But Tyler,
well,
what do you do?
To speak up for your dad, because I'm currently doing it, it's freaking hard.
It is hard.
And I don't have any other language to combat in the home. Your dad had your mom.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. I think if my mom had her druthers, he would have, because she was a homeschool mom. So she was every opportunity for education.
Oh, she would.
We're going to go for it. Yeah. I think she would have felt, I think it might have been hard for her to feel kind of left out in some of those senses, but I think she might have sucked it up. At least even if it was partial immersion.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think when we were little, they just weren't even thinking about it.
Well, so I got to tell you,
please.
Most people don't think, let me speak my non-native language to my child. It is really not a typical occurrence.
Yeah.
You're just not going to think it,
Yeah.
It's not my language.
Which is something
and a lot
you
of connection too. People get nervous about losing.
Sure.
And you can't get that back, that time with your child,
to
have that connection.
So
that's a thing people say. I don't know if there's research to it. I think my connection's pretty good. So
she seems to be got such a healthy, happy child.
She's a good. So I go, well,
not because of the
my friends are like, that's going to be a fun ride when they meet her, or I send them a video.
Oh,
it's just spirited.
She's so spirited. And I love it. I
do too. I would have it any other way, but it's really freaking hard.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
They're definitely harder than the kids who are just yes, I'll just sit next to you at the coffee shop. I see those kids at the coffee shop. I'm like, what do you do with that child? Are they just like that? Were they born like that? Is that how they? But a lot of them, they're just different personality.
You have just more subdued personality. But I didn't get that one. No, but I think as well, she's going to be a really great grown-up because she's going to know exactly what she wants and how to tell people what she wants.
Yes.
She's going to be able to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And she's going to be able to, she's just going to understand.
She's going to be quite charismatic.
Yeah.
And again, there's no good or bad personalities. I just think that's what I got.
Yeah. I think when I see spirited children who are obviously I think for me, it brings me a lot of joy, even though I also know how hard it is because I see so many kids who are who have that spiritedness taken out of them so young.
She's definitely going to soar. Oh, the spiritedness for sure. With me, I'm over it, kid.
Sure. Yeah. And she's going to be able to do it in multiple countries.
Yeah.
And in multiple languages? How many kids can set boundaries in multiple languages?
Yeah.
So early.
Getting that.
Yeah. I love it. And I just think she's a fun kid.
She is.
I've got a fun kid.
I really wish there was a video from this morning with the crying over the dress.
Oh my God.
Like I said, she won. She won. We found a dress. But it was not the one she wanted, which would have been for 90 degrees in summer.
Oh.
I put my foot down with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's your job to keep her safe and healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I talked to other parents this morning. I ran into some at a coffee shop. And, you know, I hesitate sometimes to let the natural consequences, like, okay, wear the thing that you're going to be freezing in. And you're just going to learn that, you know, due to the school being like, what the heck did you send your child in? You know? But I think I need to sway more towards the natural consequences. She would have died.
Sure.
It's not 30 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So
I guess you could always send an extra coat or something with her.
yeah, it's always in the
That's
backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have extra clothes with everybody. So it wouldn't have been a problem. I don't know why I'm so stubborn. Yeah.
I
I
think
need to let it go.
there's just stuff that, like, in hindsight, there's so much stuff that we're like,
have to be like, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It totally didn't have to be like that. And it's my dad's person. Sorry, Dad. It's my dad's personality
yeah.
of that black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really no room for black and white in the world.
No,
But I have those black and white instincts, I think.
they're ingrained.
Yeah. My mom is like, everything's gray. And then, yeah, my dad is very black and white.
I think when Oliver was little, like just a little baby, I had a much easier time with just like being more like, oh, let's do things the way that you want to. And now that he's getting older and has a personality, I find myself feeling a lot more rigid. Like I want to control the situations. And I'm like, oh, why is this? Why is it now that he's bigger and can have more independence and autonomy, I'm suddenly like,
Yeah. And this is all me. Like, this wasn't her this morning. This was me.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why? Yeah. I think I was just so frustrated that she couldn't just put on the pants and the sweatshirt. Smart. Yeah. I think I'm afraid that she's just going to keep getting so intense on the dresses.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like, I just wanted there to be
super girly.
emotions. I don't care if she's super girly, but to me, it's no different than, again, being obsessed with screen time, being upset. It's just, it feels very intense, the obsession.
I see what you're saying.
That's it, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
Like maybe just not be.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty black and white. Right. You're like, I can only wear this.
Right.
Woo! That just is a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You can only wear that.
Yeah.
But everyone keeps telling me, especially with girls, like I haven't met one mom that hasn't said, we went through the princess dress thing. It will end. So that's reassuring.
So we have I guess we have different obsessions on this side of things. And
she likes trucks, and she asked for, it was so cute. She loves tools. She's like, but I had like some pink ones. Oh, it was so cute. She was like, I do want to build that cabinet, but I want to do it with pink tools.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what she got for Christmas, was a pink tool set. And there's like a screwdriver that and she can like screw things in. Yeah. She loves it.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's so funny to see the things that come out, even when we're like trying to not push them this one way or another.
I'm as expensive as you can think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it's from the school. Yeah. I don't know where else it would come from, which kind of bums me out because I wonder, would she have like dresses if all the little girls hadn't said they like dresses? I'll always wonder.
Oh,
I'll always wonder. I really will.
None of us grows up.
No, in a bubble.
No,
absolutely not. And this is that black and white. I'm like just so curious. Like I wanted to know what she naturally would have liked, you know? Like every time we're driving down the highway and she sees the Burrow Museum, she freaks out about the dinosaur. And that didn't come from anybody else.
Mm,
You know?
yeah.
I sometimes am just curious, like what she naturally is drawn to.
Yeah.
I probably have issues with gender roles in that.
Well,
You know what I mean? Just like being like, this is what little girls get.
yeah. I think I think we can see the damage that having very strict gender roles has done in our lives or the lives of people around us. And so it's like we want to avoid that at all costs for our child.
Yeah. But I just want the blank slate a little bit, just for a second, right? To see what she's drawn to.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I don't want it to feel like the pressure of being princessy, because others are.
Yeah.
And I'll never know.
Do you think if y'all were living in a different culture, it would be different?
I do. Well, it depends. It depends on how Disney princessy the culture is.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, if it's not around, then no one's going to love it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, when I was a little kid, I mean, my mom said there were no dress phases. So
You went to tools right away.
No, it wasn't that I wanted tools or anything. I just wanted to read. I wanted to read it. I wanted to write. So everyone just has different stuff.
Yeah.
And there's nothing less gender focused than reading and writing.
Yeah.
It's so neutral.
Yeah. Be anything.
Yeah, it can be anything. And I went to daycare and I went to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's more princessy now. Of course. I was just curious, like, what she would have liked if all the girls at school weren't talking about Disney princesses.
Yeah, I get it. We have a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, this is like a really like little boy thing that you're wanting to do. And I have no idea. I guess, again, daycare, he hears things. And so, I don't know even what culture or country or wherever you would go to be separated from this thing that we're in, because it's all like Disney spends a lot of money on getting our kids.
They do like really, really well. They do really, really well. And we actually went down the road of Cinderella and everything. But again, like there's so many better modern tropes than the poor girl that got saved by the prince. Like we don't have to do that trope 50 times. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, like they're all the same story.
Yeah.
And they do some really cool ones now. So it's like, okay, let's do the Lilo and Stitch, or let's do that. You know what I mean? Let's do some modern ones. Like she's obsessed with Cinderella right now.
Oh.
Yes. And again, it's the end of the world. Sure. I just wanted to have some cool girls.
Have you tried cleaning the house like Cinderella?
No, but she's always enjoyed. And the Montessori school, all they do is clean.
Okay.
They do everyday stuff. So, but everybody doesn't.
Yeah.
But she's enjoyed cleaning the house long before. Yeah. I think most little kids, have the toy things and.
Yeah. They enjoy doing it a lot more than we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah. She'll like wash a plate at the sink for like 20 minutes.
Have you read the book Hunt, Gather, Parent?
I love that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it a lot. I use a lot of those anecdotes. Especially the one, I think it was an African tribe. When I'm feeling guilty about like how much time I'm spending with her, etc. They did a study of the African tribe, and like the birth mom was with the baby 25% of the time during the first how many months. They just had such a community. It was so good for everybody.
It was a village.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
taking care. And I guess in those situations as well, you're going to have more opportunities for support when you're having this dress conversation or whatever it is that's happening, because then you can have somebody else who says, hey, maybe take a step back, or I've seen a kid go out in that kind of dress before in this weather and they're okay. And I guess we miss a lot of that perspective in not having those communities. And maybe that's why as moms or parents, we like gravitate towards people with similar interests because we're like trying to find, like we're trying to make up for that built-in community situation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this morning, all I wanted to do was, hear about their experiences with their kiddos. So it was really nice for them to share because they have like 4 and 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds. So they've already been through it. So, but teach me.
How did you get here?
Yeah.
And you've been also trying to like cultivate community with people in other countries with the intention of like spending time away and just in other spaces with other families.
Yeah. I want Issa to feel comfortable. I mean, they're not family, but I do want Issa to feel comfortable every time we go to France. So there's 2 other families there that we'll usually visit. I have a third friend who I don't know if we'll get to see this time, but he has a son probably 6 months younger than Issa. So in the future, that could be a really nice thing. Yeah, and that's mainly for the language. If she's living with a family while we're over there, she's just going to get that every day, all day interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. What led you down this path of language? And I don't know, I feel like it's such a big
Well, it was just a hobby, really. I certainly never thought it would have anything to do with how I made a living. When I grew up, my grandmother spoke 5 languages. And so I just was really fascinated by her. I just thought she was the coolest thing ever. She was in Libya. She was in Japan. She was just all over the world. And for someone born in the 40s, that's a very different life than the typical 1940s born woman.
Yeah.
Could have been even the 30s.
Why does she speak 5 languages?
So she went to college and did Spanish and French. And then I don't remember why she learned Italian. Oh, it could have been in Libya. There was an Italian community there, and she had a nanny when she had my brother, my dad and his brother, and they had an Italian nanny, and she only spoke Italian. So, you get better.
She picked it up.
Yeah. So I think that was 1.5 years. I mean, if you're all day with somebody, it's a long time. Then she was in Japan for 2 years, but she did not learn Japanese. She picked up phrases, but she was on the Air Force base. So she was in America, in Japan.
Yeah.
And then she went back at age 40 and did 5 years of Russian at school. So she's me, or I'm her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she wasn't an interpreter doing anything.
She never did anything with the languages.
Just learned them.
That's amazing. She was mostly a stay-at-home mom. I think she worked for Southwestern Bell Telephone Company, connecting phone calls at one time, but maybe worked at the library for a while. Well, she just loved learning.
Did she find opportunities to use those languages in her life?
She didn't keep traveling all the time or anything, but I just remember small things. I would hear stories about how a Russian family moved to Oklahoma City and she came across them and she could speak with them, or we'd be in San Francisco and, we were at an Italian restaurant and she's just chatting with the owners in Italian. So, and every time I walked into her house, she was watching Spanish telenovelas. So she just really enjoyed doing things in another language. That's it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of took up the mantle.
Yeah, it was strong. I had taken French, Spanish, and Japanese by 18. And I just, again, I just loved it for whatever reason. And I just kept continuing and studied abroad in Spain and then took a job in Mexico and came back. And after realizing how immersion works with our brains and the process of acquiring a language, I just kind of kept tutoring people on English and Spanish and eventually realized I was working 40 hours a week with the tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
So, I never meant for it to be a joke.
Is there a moment when you were living abroad that it like clicked for you, the immersion being kind of the way to do things? Or when you were learning any of this?
So I would say I was in Mexico for a little over a year, and I definitely was good. People would say I was fluent, but a basic fluent. I was fluent, but there's different levels of fluency. What was the question again?
Is there a moment where it clicked for you?
No, I don't think it ever clicks. I think you realize you're understanding more every few months. But I mean, there were so many times when I was just sitting at parties and I have no clue what's going on. Yeah.
I guess what I mean is more like with the actual, like with that style of learning where you were like, oh my gosh, people have been learning this one way. And
this is the way it should be done.
The way it should be learned.
Oh, absolutely.
When did that happen?
I mean, immediately. I realized immediately the first month. Like this has been more effective the first month than in the 8 years I've been studying Spanish. So why did I spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars studying Spanish when we can just acquire it naturally like we did our first language?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was almost immediate because I saw the difference. Yeah.
If someone's looking to learn a new language for the first time, what is your advice for like the first steps that they should take?
If you have the money, find a trained, it doesn't have to cost a lot. They just need to know what they're doing. Find a trained immersion teacher that can keep the conversation going.
That's it. I think when we moved back to the States from Japan, I was like, I'm going to find a meetup. I found a meetup it was like Japanese people learning English and English speaking people learning Japanese. And I think there was a lot of English immersion in those.
Yeah, it's always going to be
good for them.
Yeah.
Because my instinct is always to revert back to being the teacher.
Well, and their English is probably better than the group's Japanese.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. With any group of people, it's going to go towards whoever's strongest.
The highest common denominator.
Always.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. I mean, I made some great friends from that. It was a lot of fun, but
when you're not already conversational or at a B2, a B1 level or above, you really have to have a teacher that is going to get you there slowly. Yeah. And keeps that conversation going of, what did you do today? Oh, what did you buy? What did you eat? Like, you have to get to that next level of being able to have the real conversations, because no free person is going to sit with you. It's like 700 hours for Japanese.
Yikes.
Yeah. Spanish is a little better. After about 3 to 4.
Oh, man. I was going to say, I just did 2 different languages have different numbers.
Oh, yeah. It's 2,000 total for Japanese.
Ooh.
Scientifically. 2,000 hours of conversation practice.
I wonder how many I've done so far.
I have done 1,100.
Ooh, you're tracking it.
Yeah.
Well, how do you track it? Just like, do you have a notebook or?
Well, I can just see in my account of how many classes I've purchased.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Super easy.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I used to do like 10 hours a week. And so it was pretty easy to count.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of time to invest.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot when you think about it. I always shock people because they're like, how long did it take you to learn English?
Sure.
And they're like, studying time.
Yeah.
So many hours.
Well,
I always
it's
call
great.
myself a dream killer. Like people are like, I'd like to learn Spanish. You know, how many of you think? Because they're always like, can I do 13?
If I do 5 minutes of Duolingo a day.
If you want to just learn to read,
Yeah.
you'll never be able to speak.
No.
Never.
Oh,
Never. Zero.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll find something.
So I always give an example of watching tennis on TV. Yeah, you're going to learn a little bit about tennis. I don't think you're going to go to Wimbledon, though.
My dream.
Mastery is Wimbledon, though.
Yeah.
Right? Fluency. Yeah. Like, how will your muscles learn how to play tennis by watching it on TV? Yeah. So how can you learn to speak without speaking?
No, that makes total sense. I mean, it's the same if you have an instrument. It's the same.
Yes, it's everything.
Anything
But for
that
some
you're
reason,
trying to prioritize.
we're so ingrained to the academic way of learning languages in school that we think that's how you learn languages.
I remember feeling so frustrated looking at when I was teaching English, the curriculum that I was given. I mean, it was literally just
Grammar.
a book of vocabulary, like 13.
Hold it.
minutes,
Japan
but
is the
less.
worst. I'm sorry, Japan. You are grammar and vocabulary list. Grammar
And not even like
vocabulary list.
helpful.
And someone has awkwardly translated them, and it's words we've never used.
No, it's terrible. And the professors who were at the school I was teaching at, the English language professors, were, you know, men in their 50s who got their PhDs in English 20 years before. So even the English that they were speaking was from probably 20 years before that. And so, they were the ones trying to instate how I needed to be teaching. And while I did not have a teaching degree or certification in this situation, I instinctively knew that was not
That's what I'm saying.
what we needed to do.
You know, when I hire my teachers, I'm not looking for a language degree. I'm actually looking for those without the language teaching degree, because the way they were taught is going to go against everything I believe.
Yeah.
I would rather.
Yeah.
That's why I say someone with experience in immersion, with who can keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think what I ended up doing,
I have to understand the idea of the levels of immersion. I remember one Japanese teacher came in and was like, I was like, let's start with, what day is it? Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
What did you eat? Where did you go?
Yeah.
Oh, it was raining, so you had to put on what? Like, yeah. You got to build on fluency.
Have we talked about the Go cards? Did I send those to you? I ordered my packs, but I'm going to show
familiar.
because we could sometimes pull these out at dinner.
Oh my gosh, and I need to send you the storybooks in the packets. They're ready.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you can really do them, because they really go over exactly what the parents can do.
You can like play Go Fish or Uno or something with them, but they have the questions at the bottom.
Oh, that's cute.
And so then we had it for Japanese, and it was really helpful because it was like giving us the confidence to just say the same things over and over.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
With different, like, te gusta.
Exactly. And this is what we give you for our stories. So it's a story, and then the comprehension questions.
Yeah.
With you the answers and what you need your child to say.
Yeah, that's what we need.
But crazy stories.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about your books.
So when we started the school so long ago, I always, it takes a long time to write curriculum and develop curriculum, right? And I'm not the kind of person who waits to be ready. I just like dive in. And so I'm like, I'm not going to start a school in a year once I have this curriculum ready and spend $10,000 writing this curriculum and then realize there was no demand in society for this school.
Yeah.
So I'm like, throw spaghetti right away.
Love it.
See if it sticks.
That's how I do it.
It stuck.
Yes.
And so I used someone else's curriculum for a long time. And I knew we would eventually get there. But we needed the funds. We needed the money. And so one thing at a time, we wrote the books. We did really crappy PowerPoint presentations to go along with the books. We had no illustrators, but writing a book is the easiest part and the cheapest part, the words.
Yes.
And then a year in, we said, okay, we're ready for illustrators. So we hired 4 illustrators. We gave them the books and we started working through creating the illustrations. And of course, like refining the curriculum all throughout. And then one of our employees said, I said, I'd really like to make this an audiobook. And she was like, I'm really good at voices. And I was like, go, girl, go. This is your project now. You'll do all the audiobooks. And so she does all the audiobooks. And then I was like, does anyone know a songwriter? And so I'm like, my uncle loves to write songs and he does them for companies. Like that's his thing.
That's awesome.
He teaches and writes songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so give him the storybooks and highlight the main vocabulary and then have him write songs. And so
in Spanish?
Everything's in Spanish.
Yeah.
Well, my whole team's in Spanish.
You found
my whole team's in Spanish, so they don't speak English.
Right, sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, in
So
Spanish.
it's like all of these people, a lot of these people that you're working with are based in Mexico.
Everyone's based in Mexico. Not one person is in the U.S.
Yeah. So like you found a Mexican songwriter and
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, because all of my teachers are in Mexico.
Right.
So everyone's family members are Mexican.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So the language part is not the hard part.
Right.
So they did that. And then the next step, after we get done with 1 full year of curriculum, so we have like now a TruFluency Kids textbook for 5 levels. And after we get that done, then we'll start making cartoons that go with each of the books.
Whoa.
So then now the parents have audiobooks for the car, songs for whenever.
Love it.
The storybooks to read every single night that has the parents' PDF guide of what their part is. And so if they don't feel comfortable with the pronunciation, they can put the audiobook on. And then the audiobook has questions at the end of each page.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we can download the audio.
Yeah.
And like put it on like all
It's
of
all on YouTube.
So Nick can,
Yeah.
He can like listen to the cards himself on his Yoto and play the audio.
Oh, you totally could.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So fun.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I can't.
And I am much more of a, I don't care if it's perfect. I care if it's done.
Right.
We're too small to care about perfect. Once we hit 1 million, then we can refresh the curriculum.
You can go back through.
Yes, we can. And we've already started. There was one songwriter that was doing AI, and that's fine. We really just wanted to have material. But now we have found a songwriter that it's him and his guitar, and he has the whole setup.
That's great.
So we're starting to make sure he does 2 out of every 3 songs.
Yeah.
Because we know we're going to replace the AI guy.
Yeah.
Songs eventually.
Right.
But when you're getting started, give me some AI songs.
Yeah.
Let's get some fun songs for the kids to go along with the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of flexibility in allowing yourself to do things imperfectly and knowing that if you really needed to, you can go back. But honestly, like if what you're creating is usable, then it doesn't matter.
Totally.
And chances are by the time you get to the point where you're like, well, maybe we could go back, you're going to have new ideas for better things and, better situations. So,
and eventually what we want to do is not everybody can afford live classes.
Right.
I think the minimum payment is $110 a month. They're not cheap live classes. And so what we want is to put the whole curriculum on Kajabi so that people can just pay, I don't know, $10.
Yeah.
And there's all of course 1.
Yeah.
Because it's just a digital course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
win-win for everyone.
I think so. Because I really do want to make sure that it is accessible. But we had a mom yesterday. She's like, do you have a 100% scholarship? I don't know how to do those things yet. Like, how do you give away how many do you give away for free out of your percentage? I got to figure those numbers out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tricky. Or like even a discount.
Well, we already do
that kind of
discounts,
thing.
but she said she only could do free.
Oh, yikes.
I mean, we give up to 75% discounts.
Yeah.
Just something. It's huge. Oh
my God.
And
you did a lot of work into it. Yeah. I would say if you wanted to do a scholarship instead of you giving it away, see if there is an organization that aligns with your values that would be willing to sponsor a certain number of courses.
I need to ask that mom where she's living because there are 11 states with educational savings accounts that parents can submit their paperwork to say, I would really like to do more for the education of my child, but I'm not financially able to. One of them was $5,000.
Whoa.
Holy moly. There's a new program in Florida. I don't know if it's new. It's new to us. It's called Step Up Florida. California, of course, has a kick-ass program. Florida has an amazing program. But there's a list of 13 states. Texas, of course, is not on that state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but Step Up Florida, we've gotten probably 7 families calling us saying, can you apply to be a vendor? And so we're like, of course, you have free money and you want to sign up for our classes.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
A world, or are you planning to expand to other languages or like have the English version for?
I will never.
Okay.
I'm going to do what I know best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So even having like an English version for like families moving here, you probably wouldn't want to do that.
I don't think there's a market for $100 to $200 a month.
Sure. That's a good point.
Yeah. I think in China, there's a market.
Sure.
Which is why VIP Kids was, I think last year, one of the fastest growing companies in the world. There's a huge market for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge.
Have you?
I don't know anything about, marketing to China.
No.
So what I've learned in my 7 years of entrepreneur coaching and training and classes is stay in your lane.
That's so good.
Stay in your lane only.
I don't do that very well.
That I will never do anything else.
That's great.
Yeah.
I admire you for that. I think sometimes I feel what's the word? The idea of staying in my lane is scary because then it's like, what if I miss out on an opportunity?
I get it. I have to hit my hand.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to constant and even the employees, they'll have this harebrained idea and I'm like, that is a whole other company. When would we do that?
Yeah.
No. My entrepreneur organization is called EO and we just kind of be like, what does Apple do? It does one thing better than anybody.
Yeah.
It makes one thing better than anybody. Yeah. So I'm going to make Spanish online immersion classes for kids better than anybody.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
I know that the library, depending on which library you're a part of, you can do Mango, which is not that great of a language learning thing. But thinking about in the future when you have your Kajabi set up, I bet the library might be interested in sponsoring some of those things.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely. And we had started to get that up, but again, doing one thing at a time and getting it done to completion. I think we just put 10 projects on pause because I'm like,
gotta get this.
We're doing 10 things shitty.
Yes.
Why don't we choose one and do it really well and then choose the next thing and do it really well and then choose because I get, in the entrepreneur circles I run in, we call it squirrel, squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
And there's another thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
why do you think we're doing a podcast?
Yeah. No, I've started a live thing on LinkedIn and I stopped and I'm like, Micah, stop. I just had to stop myself. You have to keep what is bringing in the money. It's posting blogs and that's what's bringing in the money.
Yeah.
So why do you keep doing all this blood, sweat, and tears for all these other? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So I have to just keep telling myself no.
Are you still doing the Fluency Core?
Oh, yeah.
Still,
Fluency Corp is my main moneymaker.
And so that's kind of running itself, or not running itself.
I would say TruFluency Kids runs itself more.
Interesting.
Because I started Fluency Corp really accidentally, but I started TruFluency Kids after I'd already been in entrepreneur classes. I don't know what else to call them. EO, it's not really what they're called. But I've been an EO for 4 years. So all of that learning that I had done in EO for 4 years, I was able to quickly build TruFluency Kids and get me out of the business because I started it with all that learning.
Interesting.
Yeah. So right away, I hired an ops person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah. That's so smart.
Yeah. Those EO classes.
And so with Fluency Corp, you're still in it.
And my last part, so I'm always CEO, I'm always strategy.
Yeah.
There's no one else making the money decisions, making the big decisions, etc.
Yeah.
And the last thing for Fluency Corp as an actual job role is the closer of the sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I have someone I'm eyeing. She doesn't know it yet. But I have someone I'm eyeing. So I'm putting together about 50 recorded calls of me having the first meeting, second meeting, and third meeting with the client to get them closed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm putting all those together as a training for the next person.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes, maybe it's just me, but I'm 15 years in. Like, I want total freedom now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just what I want. I don't care if I make less money because I had to hire someone I just want freedom.
Yeah. Do you miss like being in the weeds with the tutoring and teaching? I'm doing that part.
I haven't taught for 13 years.
Okay.
I very quickly could not run the business and keep teaching.
Yeah.
I would have maybe 1 or 2 classes a week because when you're teaching 40 hours a week, there's nothing else you can do in life.
Oh, no way.
Nothing. And so, I mean, I got down to like 1 client a week. I think maybe that was 5 years ago. Because I would have those panics of, oh, are we not going to make enough money?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would teach. Because just teaching like 1 hour a week, because my price was very high, it would just give me a little whatever cushion mentally that I needed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love, love, love teaching, but I do not want to be accountable for this. I don't want every Tuesday to have to teach this class at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to just be able to go and...
Well, and it wasn't fair to my clients either because I'm like gone 2 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So over about 3 years, I slowly moved each one to a teacher.
And you've built your business in a way that you can slowly like take your hands out of it.
Yeah. I mean, in April, I'm leaving for 5 weeks and I won't work.
I love this for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is the sales call.
Right.
So if there is someone who needs a sales call, I am the only person who can do that.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Wow.
It's tricky because how do you hire someone and you're like, yeah, this is maybe 3 hours a week. Because there's like 3 sales calls a week.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure there's part-time. There's got to be like, what's the fractional salesperson, sales manager.
Yeah, this is where I get stuck. And my whole EO team tells me that I don't need someone who knows about teaching. But how are they going to put a package together?
Right.
They don't know anything about what that person would need. And maybe I'm wrong. They like to make sure we open our mind to what we think someone needs to have experience-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I get a little stuck on that.
Yeah, it does feel kind of like a niche. It's not like a particular...
It's not a set product. Right. Every single package is customized. So I think that's where I get stuck. It's like selling an engineering product without the engineer to explain what's even possible on the call. Because the salesperson doesn't know that part. They always bring the engineer in on the sales.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Because like my stuff...
I still agree with myself.
I think when I've had admin people in the past, the idea was like, oh yeah, if I hire somebody who can help follow up on emails and put together pricing and stuff,
yeah,
that's nice in theory, but then
Yeah.
I'm always going to have to go behind them to make sure that the pricing is accurate and all of that, and that they're providing the appropriate services for the custom solution.
And I think I'm going to get my answer. I should do a science experiment. I should give this to the teacher who I think might have the personality to be a closer. It's a personality type.
Right.
And then maybe get someone who is in sales and doesn't know about language, and then let them watch these. That would be
together.
Well, or do it separate. Yeah. Give them each and I watch.
And then see who
does it better. Does someone really need to know about language to sell this?
Yeah.
Oh, I might do that.
I'm sure they need to know. I mean, I'm sure understanding the basics of,
but the 50 hours of
fine, but
the 50 hours of sales calls, if you don't know by the end of that, because I'm repeating the same thing in each one,
right? Then you probably
you're not a salesperson. Yeah, exactly. Because they all have to learn the product,
right,
and then sell it,
right.
Yeah, that might be a fun experiment. And again, I wouldn't send them out. I would be in the call.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Would you? Is there a world in which where you don't do a custom thing for each person? Would you ever have a set number of packages?
So it's not that every single client, you just need to understand their goals and tell them which number of hours will realistically get them to their goals. So that's all it is.
Okay.
And I don't know how to tell that sales. No. See, and this is where my block is. I do think that someone can do this. I'm going to have to see in action when they ask those language questions, what they say. How are they going to respond? Yeah. And how do I prepare them for what they're going to ask?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the packages are the same. It's 30, 50, and 100 hours. But I need them to be able to consult and tell the person which one makes the most sense for that employee.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a whole, I think I've listened to a lot of entrepreneurial podcasts and things about growing your business. And there's always this goal of how do I grow to the point where I don't have to be in the business anymore? And it's fascinating to me to see other people doing it because I have no concept of that for myself. I love being in the business. And then some days I'm like, oh, I'm really tired. I don't even know how I would want to scale what I do to be able to not work as much but still make money.
Well, and we all started like that. My friend Grant, he did photography for events. Now he has 75 photographers and he can't do the photography, you know? And then Nick, he was a massage therapist. He loved doing massage therapy. But he also thought to himself, do I want to do this 40 hours a week for the rest of my life? Or do I want there to eventually be a diff player? And now he owns 3 massage therapy businesses.
Wow.
And he maybe does 1 massage a week. Same with me. I was a private language coach. I just really was afraid of that eventual burnout. And so started hiring other language coaches. So it just depends on what you want,
Yeah.
and what you need, Do you need a second salary? Is it do or die? Or is it not?
Yeah, I think every day it changes. Some days I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to be a homeschool mom. And then other days I'm like, oh, I really love.
Yeah.
I love being in it. I love creating stuff. If there is a way I can do both and not have to also do my own accounting and everything.
What do you mean?
just taking care of the business side.
But you don't have to.
business. All right. Well, right now I do. I don't make enough consistently to hire other people, but
There
I
needs
think
to be a
that's
break.
the goal is like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
making enough to where I can have a dedicated bookkeeper, dedicated.
I remember in Asia when he made that list of like, okay, what are all the different hats you're wearing?
Yeah.
And I remember like every 6 months to a year, I could check one off.
I was so satisfying. Oh, yeah.
Super slow. And the first thing, of course, was, okay, teachers, get me out of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very slow.
Yeah. Everything that is worthwhile is slow.
Yeah. There was never any. And like I said, like we literally stay, at this exact same level for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Great life.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Although at this rate, with TruFluency Kids,
we'll see.
You get some good passive income going.
We have been plateaued. I say that. I think we're growing at 10% a year. It feels very slow. Just very plateauy. But we just hired for the very first time a true marketing company. A true marketing company. Like they took me to a place, a location, a photo shoot, everything. Tons of videos. They brought in models. They brought in kids, families, everything for the photo shoot. So I'm really excited with what they're going to do. And they just signed with 8 influencers.
Oh,
Mom Latina influencers. So I'm really pumped. I don't know what they're going to do.
Be working on your stuff.
Yeah, all the kids are going to take the classes, and the moms are going to video it and post. They are our.
That's
influencers.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know you could do that as
be a mom influencer.
I mean, I know you can be a mom influencer, but
they get approached all the time. They get approached all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, they totally do. Yeah. So one of my side social media goals is for all the bilingual products to reach out to me, to ask me to talk about them. That's a huge goal. Yeah, I'm going to let the marketing company, I'd really like a passive income, reviewing Yoto, doing social media for Yoto, for the Tony box, for all these products.
Yeah. Out there, Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to be you're the trusted person for multilingual families or for language classes.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. That's the long term. I mean, maybe it's not as far away as I think. Because I think with the marketing company, since they know how to do this so well,
they can help you.
I mean, 8 influencers in a month.
That's a lot.
I wouldn't have any.
No, I wouldn't know who to pick.
Yeah.
I'd just be on Instagram searching and probably finding
8 in a month.
That's
and they said they're going to come in with 8 more next month. I was like, I'm ready.
That's
our goal for 2025 is to hit 500,000. That's my goal.
Okay.
That's my goal. It's a very big goal. We're at 350 last year. So it's a very big goal. I think it's 33%. But I think that marketing company can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can get the right eyeballs on it, then stuff kind of explodes from there.
Yeah.
And if people can see, everybody wants a better life for their kids. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people want
I know.
A lot of sad truths. Want a better life for their kids. Yeah. And they're willing to do a lot and pay a lot of money to make it happen.
Yeah. And honestly, we're at a very similar rate as the 3 other competitors, which is so nice because the programs are nothing that it's really cool. One is really for academic, for checking off a list and saying that you took a Spanish course. We just will never be able to get approved by those programs because we are giving fluency for life, not an A on a test.
You have different priorities.
Totally different. And it's great that we're in that, that we're all in that thing.
Yeah.
Because different families are going for different things.
Yeah.
Because my belief is you're fluent, you're going to ace that test.
Yes.
But if you ace that test, you're not necessarily fluent. So let's do this one. And we can literally it all.
Yeah. studying Japanese again, trying to study for I think I took the N5 and passed it.
I did the N4.
I did the N4, did not pass. But
I was like, that was the level they gave me. So I was working on passing it.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things where I just assumed like, oh yeah, if I can pass this, that means I have that's a good level of, I'm like competent in this language, and I was competent at taking tests.
But you know what's sad about that test? No one speaks that way.
No one does.
So I actually, after doing that, I actually because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I spent years with these teachers doing Minya no Nihongo and Genki 1 and Genki 2 and
I've got the books on my shelf.
No one speaks like that.
Mm-mm.
And so after that, I only went for the super duper casual immersion, keeps the conversation going, people.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Get your Go cards.
Yeah.
I wonder if we still have our Japanese ones somewhere. We could pull those out and do a game night.
We do. I would love that. Issa the other day was like, meh. She was so excited. Every Thursday we do a Japanese class.
Oh.
And
together, you and Issa?
With a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to do is just get those every day, wear your shoes, put your shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
What do we say every single day? And then incorporate it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
smart. We've been, on the nights that I remember when we sit down at dinner with our little cards, then I'll try to start pulling them out, and we'll use the same, I like try to do the same things over and over, like do you need water, and
exactly,
just
all about repetitions.
And
yeah,
and it's fun because Oliver's like, oh, this is an interesting game, and he enjoys repeating after me and all of that, and I'm like, oh, we can make this fun together. It doesn't have to be. I think people approach language learning as like a lot of people just see it as this thing that is gonna suck. And it just like,
well, at 3-year-olds, it just always needs to be a game. So we always do command games. Put your hands in the sky, touch your toes, sit down, run as fast as you can, run as slow as you can. Like, that's all it is for 3.
Yeah.
It's just command games.
I think even if they don't end up fluent, I know that for me, growing up exposed to different languages,
100%.
When we did end up going to Japan, there were things that I picked up a lot faster than Adrian, just because I was able to hear the differences and stuff.
Yeah. Your ears were malleable.
Yes. And even that is just such a big...
I agree. We will not be fluent in Japanese, right? That's not the goal. Yeah. But we're going to have fun with that one.
Yeah.
But we're going to do the others. But I'm desperately trying to keep the others going.
If those romantic languages.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm just trying to keep those. Okay. I don't know what the future holds, but one day at a time with that. So
yeah. I remember the first time I read about the history of the English language and how it's like a bastardized merging of romantic and Nordic languages. I was like, no, this is why it's so hard to teach.
It is a bit of a mess. I mean, but the thing is all spoken languages are learned at the same pace. So if we would stop teaching them, then it'd be easier. Because it's not like a 3-year-old in Japan takes longer to speak than a 3-year-old in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's just, no.
Yeah.
All kids speak at the same-ish time.
Yes.
So there are no like harder languages.
Yes. I think if you're thinking about, well, like,
unless to do it
into the reading side of things and just like starting to understand spelling and stuff, I think that's where it gets more frustrating. Is like, why is the spelling for this one way and the spelling for this other
spelling is a mess.
It's the worst.
The academic part, absolutely,
it's terrible.
Absolutely.
But yes, for the actual speaking,
I got a phonics book for. I mean, I think phonics is the way to go. I actually don't know anything about teaching reading yet because that's all new to me. But phonics sounds like it makes the most sense.
I think so. There's a book that
I don't know,
a literacy teacher recommended to me that I haven't gotten yet, but I can send it your way.
And it's just
like
games.
the rules of English and why, like understanding in which scenarios it's going to be an E at the end of a word versus.
Oh, I know all that.
Oh,
Because I have to teach it.
sure.
Yeah. Those make sense to me, and everything. But I need to find some reading games so that this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some like flashcard games that we really like playing. It's like puzzles
Oh,
with
cool.
a picture on one side and the word on the other. Yeah. Or just like, oh, and then Ago has phonics games as well.
Okay, I need to look at that because we have the books, but all the books, and I made some cards, but all the books say for ages 5 to 7. I mean,
Yikes.
no, and I'm like but I know tons of kids that start right before 4.
Yeah.
You know, like yours is already starting.
There's an account called Toddlers Can Read that I also really like because he sits with a kid with a whiteboard, but he still makes
the
it
whiteboard.
really
The
fun.
whiteboard with it is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, Toddlers Can Read is great.
Okay,
So
because I can just use the same methods for any language.
Right.
Because they all have phonics. French has phonics,
Yeah.
Spanish has phonics.
They're just like slightly different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same idea, as in, like, yeah, whatever method he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see what people are doing. But
Yeah.
I do a whiteboard in teaching a language class is the most the number one thing you have to have, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love a whiteboard.
I love a whiteboard. Sounds so nerdy. I'm sorry.
Whiteboard. If you want to sponsor this podcast,
To go soon.
you have to go. Oh,
No, just soon. Sorry.
okay, cool. No, that's okay. I was going to say, I'm just going to keep going if you don't have a...
I just want to be
dotted
home by 1
Oh.
so that I can prepare for the 1:30.
I have 3 ending questions to kind of land the plane, and they can be kind of rapid fire. What is something that you recently had to unlearn?
Oh, currently with How to Raise a Child. For sure.
Yeah.
You see, I think your parents come out and they raised a kid 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like the black and white thinking we talked about earlier, and just learning how to give respect and empathy for the child, and understanding why they want to wear a pink huge dress every single day.
Yeah.
And what that feels like, that desire and that lack of control of, we get to choose what we wear every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think that's just been huge, learning how to be a parent.
Yeah. What is your hottest take?
What's that mean?
Your hottest, like somebody's hot take on something is like when it's like maybe it could be a controversial opinion about something, but like something that you're like, this is my ride or die opinion, or like it can be something serious or something not serious.
Sorry, I keep hitting the mic.
Oh, it's okay.
I probably alienate people with my black and white views of learning a language needs to be with an actual person. Because I had someone a couple weeks ago say, which is your favorite language app? And I said, none of them. And she didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But what I really need to say is, what are your goals?
Right.
Do you want to learn? Do you want to have fun?
Yeah.
And just learn a few sentences?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be able to talk to people?
Yes.
And 99.9% of people kind of want to just play on their phone.
Yeah. Yes. That's true.
Yeah. And that's fine.
And that's cool too. Yeah.
We like, for me, maybe wanting to play tennis. Like, yeah, just going to hit the ball a few times.
Go have fun with it and not try to get anywhere with it.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Do you know of any good, I guess if you want to like learn a language, but you can't afford to like take classes with a person, you have to find a person. Oh.
Pimsleur.
Oh.
Yeah. I always say, because it's not an app though.
Sure. It's the constant input.
Yeah. It's videos for that language level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really an immersion situation with questions afterwards without a live person. And that's why we're trying to develop the other
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third question. What's something that made you really happy this week?
Coffee every day, but that's all my life. This week was a blur. I would definitely say a friend and I, we really only like see each other in the parking lot and say hi, at that drop off at school. And 3 weeks ago, I said, I'd love to have coffee with you sometime. And we had to schedule it for 3 weeks in the future, right? To make it happen. And so we got to go to coffee this morning and ran into 2 other parents. And I think community and connection is always going to fill my cup.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Let's have a play date soon, and
yeah,
we'll keep the chats going.
No, Asa loves Oliver, so
yeah, they're sweet.
They are.
I don't have a tagline or anything, so thanks for listening, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe.
Well, I haven't even wanted to say on those things.
Yeah.
Go find. What was I going to say?
And
I used to, before Isa, have and with a certain group of friends, my most commonly seen group of friends, we will do dinner nights all the time. But people with kids, tell me how you think this would go. Like, if it's a dinner night, I would think they would want to get a babysitter so they could just hang out, from like 7 to 10. But then I wonder how many people could actually come.
For like a Spanish?
No. Just getting together. Yeah. Because I'm not going to get a babysitter in my own home because she's there. Because I wouldn't have a way to really give her away unless grandma took her.
I think it just depends on the people. Like, I think we're the kind of people, depending on where we're going to hang out, we might just bring him with us.
Yeah.
And I feel like in some ways we're more European, just in that we're not as strict on like late bedtimes and that kind of thing. But maybe that's not a European
and maybe I'll just throw it out there because, again, with one friend group, I just haven't done this with my parenting friends yet. But I am like
gotta find
such an inviter.
Yeah,
like. I would have.
We can bring our Nat
every other week
from school.
This bring Liam always have people over because that's happiness to me. Right. It's like having my house full.
Yeah.
So, and again, this one group of friends, like really no one else has a kid in that group. So, yeah, I need to throw it out there because the mom this morning that I had the coffee with, she was like, "Oh, there's this." My older daughter's school, the parents always have people over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, I used to do that all the time.
I think like a weekday or a weekend.
Weekend.
Yeah. After like late afternoon into the evening is also what we found works really well for other people with kids.
Yeah. Like a 5 o'clock start time?
Yeah, or even earlier, like 4 o'clock, like 4 to 8 or something, if you want a nice long time to just...
I like long times.
I do too.
And I just like people, and what I would love to do is I love just bringing people together.
Yeah.
So that they're connecting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to just throw it out there.
Yeah.
Whoever shows up, shows up.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, come if we are available.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yay.
Yay.